In this chapter, Dim Out and Blackout, we wanted to show that the visual field loss that occurs in aviators when they do a loop-the-loop and blood is drained away from their brain to their legs and lower trunk, they lose vision because the part of the brain that runs vision becomes ischemic. Now this, what we find in the type of vision loss that occurs in interictal migraine, it's the same, has the same characteristics. So let's look at the two types of vision loss together. The first one now we're going to look at is what happens in a patient who is doing the loop-the-loop. First, his vision goes grey and then greyer, and then he goes dark at the sides, and then the darkness of the sides turns into a small tube, and the vision goes altogether. Now the same situation occurs in interictal migraine. And here's a patient's right eye, the visual field is full, and in another patient you'll find it's much smaller, in yet another patient again it's smaller, and then you starting to get into tube vision, and sometimes you get a very narrow tube, and then sometimes you get hardly any sight at all. And so these two systems, what happens in aviators and what happens in interictal migraine, in the tunnel vision of interictal migraine, it's very suggestive that it's the same process. It's an ischemic process of the cerebral cortex. Now, from that little video, what I've been trying to show was that the type of vision loss you get with ischemia to the brain is the same as the vision loss you get when you find an interictal migraine. But in ischemia, like in a loop-the-loop, it's a transitive process, and you go through all the stages quite quickly. And as soon as you come out of the plane becomes level again, the vision comes back in the reverse way to the way that it went in the loop. Now in interictal migraine, the vision stalls so that every patient will represent one aspect of the vision loss, another patient will another aspect, and another patient, so that you get the whole panorama of a loop-the-loop, but bits of it occur in separate patients. So that, but what the theme is that the visual abnormality in spinal derangement is of an ischemic nature. Yeah, and you really have to understand that, because that follows on into the rest of the book. Now, we've now come to the conclusion that what happens in interictal migraine, in the relationship between spinal derangement and brain function, it's a vascular process. And we'll proceed, as we go along, we'll proceed to go on to the next aspect, because the really important thing we've got to know is how does something in the spine produce a vascular abnormality in the brain? And to explain that, this is the leap of faith in the whole process. And I talk about the osteopathic aura. An aura that's round, a joint that's subluxed, a joint that's out of kilter a little bit, and it has an aura around it that affects the blood supply of the adjacent nervous system. And that's the whole problem. So in the next chapter we'll go on to talk about the osteopathic aura.